Thomas, How Thomas Edison Changed Our Lives by Barretta. Have you ever thought about inventing something of your own? You're never too young to try. Thomas Alva Edison began experimenting when he was just a boy. That's right. It was the beginning of a life dedicated to improving the world with his brilliant ideas and inventions. But Thomas couldn't do it alone. When he grew up, he gathered a large team of scientists, engineers, mechanics, and artisans in Menlo Park, New Jersey. Together, they started the first research and development laboratory in the world. It became known as the Invention Factory. Later, a second lab was built in West Orange, New Jersey. It was even bigger and busier. These were the sites of his greatest successes and his most valuable failures. Edison used his failures as a necessary part of inventing. He once said, "I know several thousand things that won't work," and he would always try again. Present day. We can now record any sound we like and save it. This was not possible before Edison. Edison's lab. Edison's tinfoil phonograph was the first device to record sound and play it back. It was a major scientific breakthrough and earned him his nickname, the Wizard of Menlo Park. That's pretty impressive for a man who was partially deaf. To record, cover the cylinder with tin, rotate it, and speak into the horn. The voice vibrates a needle on the end of the horn. The vibrating needle makes small sound grooves on the rotating tin. To listen, stop and place the needle back to the start. Rotate the cylinder. The needle rides over the sound grooves and plays your recording. Present day. If Thomas Edison were alive today, he would be fascinated by the many ways we listen to recorded sounds. It all started with his phonograph. Edison's lab. Edison constantly improved on his phonograph so it would have multiple purposes. Models were designed for homes and public arcades. Phonographs were also introduced to offices as the first dictation machines. It became possible for office workers to record spoken information, save it, then play it back when they were ready to copy it down. A small phonograph was built for the first talking doll. Present day. Need a battery? Take your pick. Today, they are made in many shapes and sizes. Edison's lab. One of Edison's biggest successes was his nickel iron storage battery. It was originally created to power an electric car, but since the electric car didn't catch on, he found many other important uses for it. For example, Edison's battery was used to power buoys, boats and submarines, local delivery trucks, railway cars and signals, rural homes, miners' lamps. Present day. When members of our government cast a vote, they use very basic voting machines. Thomas Edison invented a vote recorder for the government. It was his very first patent. Having a patent means you legally own an invention. Over the course of his career, he was awarded 1,093 patents for his ideas. The X-ray machine is a common way to photograph the inside of our bodies. Edison's fluoroscope was the first example of X-ray technology. It generated bright and fast images. The basic design is still used today. Present day. When we hear the word Hollywood, we think of bright lights, big movies, and glamorous celebrities. But did you know that Hollywood is not the birthplace of movies? The movie industry was essentially started at Edison's lab. His goal was to offer an experience that does for the eye what the phonograph does for the ear. Edison's lab. So Edison created the first motion picture camera, the kinetograph. The technology was similar to our modern movie cameras. He also built the first movie studio and called it the Black Maria because it resembled a police patrol wagon with the same nickname. Movie lights did not exist yet, so they opened the roof and used the sunlight. As the sun moved, the studio followed it on a revolving track. Present day. Today we can watch our favorite movies on a big screen, at home, or even on our phones. Edison's lab. The first movies were shown on Edison's kinetoscope, which did not project images onto a screen. It was built for peephole viewing, one person watched at a time. Edison's kinetoscope was the first projector to show movies with synchronized sound. The projector was connected to the phonograph. It wasn't perfect, but it was the first. When people watched movies for the first time, they were amazed to see even the simplest movements, like a woman dancing, a man sneezing, a boat in the water, a man posing, a rooster walking. Present day. When you chat with your friend on a computer, you send electronic messages across wires and radio waves, just like the old telegraph machines did. Edison began working as a telegraph operator in his teens. Edison's lab. He eventually improved telegraph technology with machines that could not only send messages faster, but could also send several different messages on the same wire and in opposite directions. Quadruplex telegraph. Today we use radio waves to transmit all types of signals, including those from mobile phones, radar, television, and radio. Thomas Edison was among the first to discover radio waves in the air, although at the time he couldn't fully explain his discovery. Present day. Our quality of life has certainly been improved by the extraordinary work of Thomas Edison and his colleagues at the labs. Think about this. Bedtime stories would be very different today if it were not for Edison's most popular and important invention, the incandescent light bulb. Edison's lab. After thousands of experiments, Thomas Edison produced a light bulb that was perfect for homes and offices. It was sturdy, safe, and bright. It also burned a long time. This breakthrough ultimately changed the way we live, and it was also excellent for shadow puppets. Present day. Edison's bulb worked as part of an elaborate light and power system large enough to power an entire city. He once told a newspaper that he would be the first person to light up a portion of New York City. It took 4 years of hard work, but he kept his word. Edison's lab. Edison built the first large electric generator and power system on Pearl Street in Manhattan. The key feature was its ability to send electricity to many different locations at once. It became the model for the future. So every time you turn on a light, think of Thomas Edison and remember everything he gave us. One of the greatest tributes to his work came on the day of his funeral in 1931. President Herbert Hoover asked the entire country to honor Edison by turning off the lights for a minute of darkness. People everywhere honored a lifelong career filled with important inventions and innovations, a career that began in the small home laboratory of a young boy with lots of ambition and dreams. 1859, age 12. 1869, vote recorder. 1874, quadruplex telegraph. 1877, tinfoil phonograph. 1877, incandescent light bulb. 1880, ore separator. 1890, arcade photograph. 1891, kinetograph. 1891, kinetoscope. 1896, fluoroscope. 1910, alkaline battery. 1913, kinetophone. And 1918, Ediphone.